How do you improve on something when the bar you set is already really high? What needs to be different to make the player feel like they haven't played this before? Why do we even need a new Ghost game? And when does this take place and everything? Well, thanks to the new State of Play by PlayStation, all about Ghost of Yotei, we have some of those answers. Set a couple hundred years after the main events of the first game, Ghost of Tsushima, we follow a completely different protagonist around feudal Japan. We play as a woman named Atsu, a woman who watched a gang, the Yotei 6, mercilessly slaughter her entire family and leave her for dead. Now, she returns to her homeland after a long stint in the south to seek revenge as the new ghost legend, as Jin Sakai did before her. Immediately when the trailer starts, you can see the attention to detail Sucker Punch put into this land and how much they appreciate the real-life counterpart. Every little leaf to every little stone on a roof has been crafted with such beauty that I guarantee you'll spend a few minutes just sitting there in awe of just the setting and the graphics. I mean, just the look of this game alone is absolutely beautiful. The first game, Ghost of Tsushima, was also very beautiful. They just amplified this one up tenfold. Ghost of Tsushima left such an impression that when they announced Yotei, I was a bit skeptical that, like, why do we even need a new one? This first one was flawless. How are we going to connect the events to this? How would you make a sequel to that? Everything wrapped up really nice, and it's in feudal Japan, so there's only so much you can do. But nothing is perfect, and Sucker Punch seems to have leaned into what really didn't make Ghost of Tsushima click and amped that up a little bit. Fixed those things that Ghost of Tsushima was a little weak on. For starters, the weapons. In Ghost of Tsushima, you had your big long katana and then the shorter sword. And then you switched between stances. As, you know, different enemies came up, you would pick, you know, the moon stance for a certain enemy or what have you. This game, it seems they've done away with the stances and have just included different weapons for you to choose. And every weapon is interchangeable, meaning that you can start a fight with the katana and then go to the double blades and switch out all of these weapons during the middle of your combat. It's encouraged because different enemy types have different weapons, and you'll want to use a weapon that counteracts their weapon as opposed to just going ham with just a long samurai katana. The enemies can even adjust their weapons mid-combat, which adds to the fun of being able to switch your playstyle up on the fly and having to figure out what works best with other people and what doesn't. They also incorporated long-range weapons, including a long flintlock-style rifle that looks a lot of fun, and they also included a bow and arrow, in addition to the smoke bombs and the alert darts from its predecessor. So it looks like Ghost of Yotei is going to have a lot more options to choose from when it comes to how you want to tackle an event or an enemy camp or what have you. Another big change is the ability to interrogate enemies. Once you're about to kill the last enemy of this group, you'll get the option to interrogate them, and you'll have a couple different options to pick from. And whatever you pick from will send you in a different area of the map. It results in receiving a different skill or a weapon or something along the lines that'll help you further your journey. But it also might give you some hints as to where you can find one of the members of the Yotei 6. This is an awesome mechanic that I think adds to the mystery of the game and further engulfs you into the immersion of being Atsu. The menu system itself has actually gotten a little overhaul as well, making it a little bit more personal than the last game. This menu style gives you, the player, a better read on who is your ally, what they can do for you, and what skills they can give you through their missions. You can even set up a campfire wherever you're at on your journey, and if there's a companion of yours that has a task or a weapon or a skill to give you, instead of interrupting your exploration journey, you can set up this campsite and they'll come to you. So not only can you cook food and play a little bit of music, but you can also interact with these NPCs and your allies without having to leave your spot or having to backtrack to find, you know, where you came from. It's a really unique system for a game that encourages exploration, allows you to continue to explore without having to give up any sort of area or make you have to backtrack through certain areas. You can literally just stop where you're at, put up a campsite, and if somebody's got something to give you, they'll come by. And I think that's awesome. Ghost of Yotei has improved on Tsushima in practically every way that it can. And the popular phrase, if it's not broken, don't fix it, heavily applies here. I found myself thinking quite a bit watching that state of play, this looks a lot like Tsushima. And I mean that in the best way possible. Tsushima was a lot of fun. It had a lot of movement and a lot of exploration and a lot of freedom when it came to how you wanted to approach a certain situation. And it seems like Yotei kept that same idea but just expanded upon it. Like the different weapons and the companion system, those seem like really great quality of life improvements that keep this type of game fresh and unique. In addition to all the gameplay improvements, like the new weapons and the wolf companion, they've kept the spirit of the original Ghost game alive with the re-inclusion of the Kurosawa mode, which if you didn't play the Kurosawa mode on Ghost of Tsushima, I highly recommend you do so. It's a completely different experience, especially if you're a film buff. If you like old movies and you like the history of film, the addition of the Kurosawa mode just makes this video game more like a movie, like an old classic samurai movie. You can play it in Japanese. You can play the game in Japanese. They've mouthed and done all the voiceover work and motion capture to allow seamless transitions, so you can set the game in Japanese and the characters look like they're speaking Japanese, and you can select English and vice versa. But with the Japanese, you can select the Kurosawa mode, watch it in black and white, get that grainy kind of texture over top. It adds a whole new vibe to the game and is much in line with the older Kurosawa films. I'm super happy they brought that back, and it's even cooler that they brought 2 new modes in. And I can't wait to try them out. The first mode brings the camera closer to the action. And where you're normally out here, now the camera's down here. And it adds a little more mud and more blood splats. So it's a lot more gritty and gruesome. And if you're into combat and the combat elements of this game, then this mode is probably going to be what you want to play in. It looked like pretty similar to God of War, the new God of War games, and how that camera angle is like over your shoulder, really in the fight with you. And having that kind of camera angle in this game is going to be a lot of fun, especially with all the blood and the rawness of that time period. I think this is a fantastic idea. The other mode that they picked was also really cool. It encourages exploration. Sucker Punch throughout this state of play wanted to emphasize to the player that this is a very exploration heavy game. This other mode provides a more chill experience and emphasizes on just chill exploration. So by doing this mode, it'll play custom-made lo-fi beats made by the guy who made Cowboy Bebop. And as you just kind of like hang out in feudal Japan, just like exploring the area. And for those times where you want to play a game, but you don't really like want to be forced to do something, you kind of just want to explore, this is the perfect mode for you. There's also an element that I'm really curious to see how it plays out, and that's being able to switch between current time setting and in the past with Atsu. Sucker Punch said in this state of play that you'll be able to switch between current Atsu and past Atsu at any moment with just a push of a button. So I'm wondering if it's kind of like, you hold the trackpad and then you're in 20, 30 years ago, feudal Japan. I'm not too sure how far back you'll go, but it looks like you'll go back at least a little before your whole family gets whacked. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. That's a really unique gameplay choice that I'm wondering if it has some sort of actual gameplay element or if it's purely story based. And if it's purely story based, I can't imagine you'd be able to do that at any time, or why you would want to do that at any time. Pain in the ass. So I'm hopeful that that is something that is actually going to pay off and make sense why you would use that throughout the whole game, as opposed to just some story gimmick that warrants flashbacks. I'm not sure. I am very interested to see how it plays out, though. Ultimately, we're going to need to wait almost 3 months to see this experience for ourselves. All I can say is that this state of play softened my concerns for a sequel, and in turn made me hopeful for a game that uses its predecessor as a stepping stone for improvement. I think if Sucker Punch's history says anything, it says that it's capable to improve on an already solid foundation. You look at Sly Cooper, their first entry into the video game industry. They made 3 really good Sly Cooper games. Then they moved on to Infamous. And they made an insane game with Infamous. It improved upon it in Infamous 2 and improved on it even more in Second Son. Now that we got Ghost of Tsushima, I have no doubt that Sucker Punch is going to be able to improve it in all the ways it needs to be improved for Yotei. And, maybe we'll get a new Ghost, a third Ghost later on, that they improve stuff from Yotei. It's kind of hard to imagine what they can improve on when the bar is set so high, but I guess that's what comes with our personal experience when we finally get to play the game when it releases October 2nd of this year. Stay tuned to TOMCAM TV for everything Ghost of Yotei and more. We're so excited for this game to come out. Be on the lookout for some walkthroughs and some live plays. It's going to be a great time. Lots of good games coming out this year, and Ghost of Yotei is on the top of my list. Or one of the top of my list, I should say. So, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Are you excited for Yotei? Did you think Tsushima was a masterpiece and it didn't need to be worked on? Do you think it sucked and you hope Yotei completely changes the format? What are you looking forward to the most? I think it's going to be great. So, what do you think? All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Whatever you're doing, have fun doing it. Be safe. Catch y'all later.